Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're all doing well. Um, it's Thursday. I often don't record on Thursday. It's date night for my husband and I. We go out every Thursday night, just a chance for us to talk, look at each other across the table, talk about any issues we've been wanting to talk about and whatnot. And it's worked really well for our marriage that is in its what? I don't know, 22nd, 22 years and counting, whatever. So there's something though that I've got to talk to you guys about. Um, as y'all know, I live in Minnesota and I love to play on that accent. So, sometimes I'm playing it and sometimes I guess I actually do have the accent. So, um, I need to find something that I just had up here because we need to talk. We need to talk here. So, we're going to go over here and I find that again and keep that up. Okay, so what we have going on here is this beautiful lady here, and she is missing. So,
To go from a
okay,
petroleum refinery to a
I'll stop
renewable
this again.
diesel.
Okay, so what we have here, without further ado, is okay, so there's a couple of things that are not being mentioned on the news that I know because I live in Minnesota that are relevant to the story. There are many, many different things coming from different news outlets about the disappearance of Maddie Kingsbury. Now, I've held off on talking about this because of the different things that are being said, and I didn't want to jump to conclusions as that I focus a lot on the Watts case. There are a lot of parallels already being compared to that, and it's not that. There are actually more parallels to this, to the Josh Powell case, if we were going to argue it, than there are that. I mean, there's just so much going on here. So right now, her partner, who she shares two children with, is not mentioned as a person of interest. He does have an attorney, and that does not imply guilt or innocence. If ever you're in a situation and you're next of kin, if you're the last person to see that person, and you're going to be asked a lot of questions by the police, get an attorney. There's no reason not to. It. I know that people say it looks bad. It doesn't. In the grand scheme of things, you need to protect yourself. And so, although he has an attorney, I that alone on the surface should not be the biggest concern. The family had not spoken out, and there were very few details that first came out on her disappearance. I'm going to tell you why, because I'm a local and I know. The day that she disappeared, which was April 1st, so she disappeared Friday, March 31st. And from that day going into the next day, April 1st, we had one of the most severe storms we've ever had in this state. Where she went missing from, in that southwestern corner of our state, it was severely hit by the storms. It borders Wisconsin, down in the area where she went missing. And there were tornadoes, there were floods, we had a blizzard, we had everything you could think of. So this massive storm hit. That's what was on the news all over everywhere. That, I believe, needs to be a bigger part of the story, because with that storm starting, it had started that Thursday night. So the Thursday night into that, the reason being is that when the area where she lives is called Winona, and it's a very, very rural area. So right now they're asking for security cams, and because the outside national media has finally taken notice to the story. So they're asking, well, why aren't security cameras seeing this and whatnot? We're talking about very rural towns, okay? Secondarily, that storm with the blizzard would have really complicated any camera that is out there because literally it was a blizzard. So that is complicating it. And then I'll tell you the other part of why the weather is complicating this as well. So if you don't know, the way this all started is Madeline, she goes by Maddi Kingsbury. She's 26 years old. She went missing on Friday, March 31st. Her and her significant other, it was first reported that he was her husband, and now things are coming out that not married. They aren't even going so far as saying boyfriend, they're saying partner. The reasons are going to be explained later, but they were held until very recently, so I'll hold them as well. So the story was her and her partner that she lives with, who she shares the two children with, according to him, dropped the two kids off at daycare at 8:15 in the morning. Okay? Now this is where it got complicated because then the stories were that she went to work and she was driving a dark blue 2014 Chrysler minivan and to be on the lookout for that. And then that turned out not to be true. The details went back and forth. I am trying to get the straight story out of the combination of all of the news things that are out there and me being a local, and it's tough. They want anybody who saw that van on any security footage and whatnot during the time frame of 10:30 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon that day to call. But I can't see anywhere where they put a license plate out. That's problematic. So, you're asking for anybody who saw anything in a very rural area with this minivan from this window of time in a blizzard without giving the license plate. It's tough. So, she has two children that she shares with. His name is Adam, and his last name is Fravel. Their children are 5 years old and 2. She has Ilyana, who's 5, and Noah, who's 2. So she's got the perfect, little girl, little boy, and everybody says she's a very dedicated mom. She goes to work and she comes home. Well, what does she do at work? Well, she's been working for 3 years at the Mayo Clinic. And now this is the other thing is that they don't say that she's working at the Mayo Clinic. They say she works for the Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic is in Rochester, so that's a little bit, they haven't mentioned the word Rochester, so I don't know if she was working remotely, where her actual place of work was. I can't find this in here. So she's worked at the Mayo Clinic for 3 years, and she works as a clinical research coordinator for infectious disease medicine and occupational therapy. She has always done her research in human subjects. She obtained her bachelor's degree in public health and administration from Winona State University in 2019. She is now pursuing her master's degree at, I think they said the University of Health Sciences, Minnesota, for the public health degree. I can't figure out what they were saying in that. I don't know where that is, but it was said on one of the things that it's a very prestigious master's degree. It's difficult to get in. Like you have to really show that you're a candidate who is dedicated to making a change, that you're dedicated to this career path that is going to really give back to the world in ways of research. So as some of the high profile cases out there of these moms going missing, and it seems as if they may have been suffering from postpartum depression, they went and whatnot. It doesn't look like that for her because she has such dedication to her work and is pursuing that master's degree. So she's got those long-term plans. Secondarily, she was speaking to her sister prior to her going missing, and they were making plans for the very next day, Saturday. So there was nothing in anything that shows that. The As they state, her victimology profile, she is very low risk, as it is said to be a victim of a crime, because she goes to work, takes her kids to daycare, goes to work, picks up the kids from daycare, goes home. She does crafts. She's just that perfect Midwest mother. Very dedicated to the kids, very much loves them. Lives in a townhouse that's connected to another unit with her partner, Adam. Okay? I'm going to tell you what messes with the victimology towards the end. So, his story is that at 8:15 in the morning, they went together and dropped the children off at the daycare. I think they said that the kids are in a Montessori program, or maybe Ileana is in the Montessori and Noah is in daycare, something like that. He says that they dropped them off at daycare and then they went home. And then it was determined that she was going to stay home from work and he left. There's been many different scenarios that have been stated around that scenario. Okay. Still puts him as the last person that saw her. So technically, he's the last person who saw her. Okay, so we're going there. She lives in Winona. Told to watch, to look out for her, to give any reports if anybody saw her driving her 2014 dark blue Chrysler Town and Country. Is that now necessarily saying she was driving it? Because if she stayed home, according to him, then he would have taken it. They're not saying there's a secondary vehicle that he would have taken. Now, they're looking at, he's saying that after they dropped off the kids at 8:15, he left at 10:30 in the morning. Okay? There's a nearby rural town called Rushford, and the Rushford Quick Trip camera caught what they believe to be this dark blue Chrysler Town and Country. Again, they've not said the plate, and like I say, as the weather is bad, they're talking about a gas station camera. That's going to be very, focused on getting driver's license or license plates of the cars there at the gas pump. They're not saying that somebody stopped there to get gas. Quick Trip, if you guys don't know, it's a Midwestern chain of gas stations. I can't think of really any what, I don't know. I mean, you could kind of say Circle K-ish, kind of. If you go there, you got to get their blackberry lemonade. It's my favorite thing. So, what they are asking for now is that if anybody in the area of Highway 42, around that area of Rushford, has any type of a doorbell camera, if you have a trail cam, and I'm assuming they're reaching out to the DNR for those cameras as well. Out here where we're very rural, we often have trail cams. So we catch the wildlife that's passing by in the area. Some people like to see, what kind is going by. Some are hunters. But like, I want to put one in my yard because I go out there and I look at the tracks and stuff. I'm like, oh, what is that? What is that? And because we're very Midwest, we have bears here. We have bears, foxes, coyotes, raccoons, all kinds of good little friends out there. So people put trail cams. So trail cams, okay, let's be honest here. It's been 12 days. Please check those trail cams. Okay. Um her phone and her wallet were still at home in that townhouse. Okay. So we have a problem with his story and he had maintained his silence as he is lawyered up. And his attorneys told him to stay away from any press conferences or any searches. He has just came out and said that. His silence gleaned a lot of suspicion into the story. Oh, on Easter Sunday, over 3,000 volunteers came out on Easter alone. Yesterday, the searches, I think, had 1,800. Law enforcement stopped their searching, I think, day 5 or day 6. And so it's been a coordinated effort now from the family and friends of the family that so you can sign up on Facebook to see if they need more people from this time slot to that time slot. They don't want a ton of people going down there and gawking and whatnot. They want people who can cover this land. Minnesota is very, very flat. They say there's 10,000 lakes, but there's probably 20,000 puddles and everything else. Okay. And then the potholes. Don't even get me started. So it's very flat. We don't have any mountains or anything like that. But the way they describe the area down there is to be there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of forest, there's a lot of farmland. It's very rural. Okay. Low population, not many cameras. She's been missing 12 days. People need to be on the lookout for Maddi, however that may be. She goes by Maddi, not Madeline. And she does it with 2 D's, I think, is what they said. So, police department has said that they are really interested in that time frame. You know, they're really looking at that 10:30 to 1. And like I say, that would have been, well, we were in Wisconsin still, so we had a lot of thunder and lightning. And I think the storms were starting pretty bad here in that area before the blizzard. And that, like I say, that's a factor that people on the outside just don't know because anybody else assumes that it's spring. We had that blizzard on April Fool's Day, which was one of the worst. And we still had snow up until last week, and then it did hit midsummer these last 2 days. And it's been miserable because of all of the melting that's going. And so this is the other problem that I want to bring up and to state the urgency and why people really need to get out there and look. Not only did that storm happen possibly after Maddi may have been somewhere, but we are expecting major flooding tomorrow in that area. There's a major flood warning, and I'm going to read that to you in just a moment. So we've really got some weather issues going on that could greatly affect the urgency in finding evidence, if you will. So the area they're saying, it's down there in that southwestern corner, and it borders Wisconsin. Winona is less than a 50,000 population, and it is. I hear it's beautiful. I'm not that familiar with that region, but I will go down and be a part of the searches if they continue into next week when I have some time available. Now, I think that more information has came out because the BCA came into this. So the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has now stated that they believe her disappearance was both involuntary and suspicious. So with those powerful words, involuntary and suspicious, we really need to get out there and cover this area before the major flooding takes effect in the next couple of days. Now, the other thing that's pretty, well, doesn't look good. Law enforcement took their 2014 dark blue Chrysler minivan and has not yet returned it. They've had it for, I think, 4 days is what I think the last I saw. So they do have that. Again, they're not saying the plate. They want to know if anybody saw it. If they saw it, they saw her driving it, or if they saw her partner driving it in that area on that day. So think back, if you're local, think back of those storms. Think back to that day when it started with the winds and the lightning and thunder, and it just got really, really blustery and weird. And then we saw that terrible, terrible blizzard. Think back to that time frame. So everybody was focused on the weather. There really wasn't the urgency to find Maddi or the news coverage to find her because our weather made the headlines. So think about that. Think about where you were on that day. Think about where you were with the blizzard. Think about if you went and you got gas, and if you were on that rural highway that going to Rushford in that area. So between Winona and Rushford, if you were anywhere in that County Road 43, that's who they really want to talk to. So if you know anybody, if you're listening and you have family or friends in that area, call them and say, hey, did you see anything on, remember that blizzard? Did you see a dark blue minivan when you were getting gas or you were, getting groceries for the blizzard? Did you see anything? Because it would stand out in this rural area. We had the state patrol basically saying, do not leave your homes. It was not safe to travel that weekend. It got really, really bad. The morning that she went missing, so it sounds like before she went to drop off the kids to daycare with Adam, she had been texting with her sister, Megan. And they were laughing about a picture, a text, and they last texted or spoke at 8:15 in the morning. Okay, that's what she said. She had kept her silence until the last couple of days as well, although she's very, very committed to the search, and she's best friends with her sister. Can't say enough good things about how amazing she is and how they, will take care of the kids together. And one of the heartbreaking things that I just saw is that the children are in the custody of Winona County. They were first put on a 72-hour safety hold, and it sounds like Adam did something that was concerning here, because it says, where did it say here? So here's a picture of him, Adam Fravel, the father of the missing Minnesota woman Madeline Kingsbury's children. So she said, okay, so Madeline's sister, Megan Kingsbury, told Fox News Digital in a previous interview she needs to protect the children. So she couldn't go into specifics, okay? And she said they're in a safe place. So maybe that's where Winona County got involved, because, It's a last resort to put the kids in foster when they have supportive and active family that they are, familiar with. So why didn't they go to the sister? Why didn't they go to the mom? Her mom has been on. The dad has been on. The dad was the one who picked him up from daycare the day that they couldn't find her. So I don't know why they didn't place the kids with the family, but as this story is building, it says they need to protect the children. So as the plot thickens, you can tell that there's something going on here. Now it says here that the April 4th court filings detail the alleged ongoing struggle by social workers and law enforcement to pry the children away from Fravel and his family following Kingsbury's disappearance. It said social workers explained to Fravel and his family what was happening and encouraged them to be cooperative to help the children. It says these attempts were unsuccessful, according to the petition. Fravel and his family made multiple calls to Fravel's attorney, and at one point stated that the attorney advised them to take the children in the home so they could not be removed. Officials on scene informed the family that they cannot obstruct the process. At one point, Fravel's father mentioned that the Winona County should prepare for a big lawsuit regarding this. This is really something that has not been talked about on the local news. When I was looking into this to make sure I had the best details, these are things that I'm finding out, and it's because the national media getting involved. So this was published April 13th, which was today. Now it's in the middle of the night. It's it's almost Friday morning. So this just came out yesterday. So this is why this wasn't making sense to me. What I was hearing nationally as opposed to local. So it says at one point, Fravel took the younger children, into the residence and locked the door, despite being told the children were in the care and custody of Winona County. Okay, so this is her. This is Maddi, this 26-year-old missing mother of two that we've got to find. Now, it says here in this, it says, was last seen dropping her children off at the daycare around 8. Now, as I say, there's conflicting information because I've not heard of the daycare making a statement, and I could totally have missed it. I'm not saying that I haven't, but I keep hearing different things, and it's really confusing. Now, it says missing Minnesota mother Madeline Kingsbury's family feared foul play when she disappeared after daycare drop-off. It says further muddying the waters is an emailed statement by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, BCA, which is assisting the Winona police in the Kingsbury search, and that said it's not aware of any law enforcement advising Mr. Fravel not to attend news conferences or searches for Madeline. Look at how they just changed that. The BCA says they're not aware of any law enforcement saying it. No, no, no. Remember what I told you in the beginning. He stated his attorney told him not to. His attorney did. These are the kinds of things that are making it really confusing. Earlier reports came out and said that, the husband is looking for the missing woman, that, they're this wonderful couple, there's no problems, blah, blah, blah. Anybody on Facebook who implies that, he's done something really gets jumped and says, don't do that. But then you have the other Facebook side that says, oh, this is a Chris Watts in the making. No. Chris Watts didn't have a lawyer. He went and he talked. And then when it came down, he's like, yes, I did it 5 ways from sideways. And yep, you know what? Around the block. Yep. I'll take responsibility for that too. When it came down to his sentencing, it was really odd. Chris Watts should have lawyered up. This man is lawyered up. So whatever is going on here, his rights are being protected. In whatever circumstance you're in, be helpful, but you have to protect yourself in the end, because if you are innocent, you don't want to have something, a high profile disappearance blamed on you, which can happen very quick if you watch the way Facebook is going on this. Okay. So the interesting thing is, and this came out after I did, after I was like 2 hours deep in this, just wondering about a couple of things, it came out and the sister did say, because this has been going back on and forth on Facebook, is that there was a Facebook post that Maddi put out that she was looking for a place to live. She was going to move in April or May. Okay, that contradicted everything that we'd heard in this wonderful, happy, loving couple. There did confirm that they are not going to be living together, that she is going forward and moving out. Okay, that changes your whole victimology profile, because now you have the most dangerous time in any relationship. If there has been no domestic violence, or if there has been domestic violence, that part, you're moving out, where you're ending that relationship, you're at a very high risk of something called separation assault. And here is where you see the problems. And this is what they were not saying in the beginning. I don't know why they weren't saying that in the beginning, and why people who were bringing that up were shushed, if you will. It doesn't take anything away from the fact that she's missing and needs to be found, however it may be. And whoever is guilty for her disappearance, if indeed she did not leave on her own volition, they need to be brought to justice. Now, when this first came up and I couldn't figure it out, as they were saying, no high risk, no, nothing, we don't know where she is, blah, blah, blah. I was like, gosh, what was she doing? And I mean, was she into grant writing and everything like that? So what was she studying? Did she, make somebody mad that they didn't get the grant? Was she studying something, still related to the pandemic? Was there something like that? I was thinking, oh my gosh, I was thinking that, and that still could be. But then when you look at this and some of the recent behaviors of the children's father, and it is stated that he does not have custodial rights to the children. So you don't know if that's inferring that there has already been agreements made for their separation, that she has full custody, and that's in paper, or if that is just an official statement that is reading something into it, if I'm reading something into it. But then again, if he's the father of the children, why are they not allowing the children to remain in the home with him? But what previous behaviors are there? They're not saying, there's nothing saying that there's been any type of domestic violence or anything, nothing. They're not telling us anything, which they don't have to. They can keep everything close to the vest, of course. I'm just saying that nothing like that has been reported. As I am a local, I can tell you. With that in mind, we've got the flood. I'm going to read you what it says for the area tomorrow, which is really okay. So let's go over here, and then we'll look at the flood warnings too. Okay, so this is what she looks like. And I mean, you have to search to even see, her statistics. You have to search to find where to contact if you know anything. There's just some things that are not very forthcoming, if you will. So let me see here. We're going to go Madeline Kingsbury. And you're going to see all of these things. And what do you see? You don't see, okay, this is this, this is this. You have to really look. Let's see. This is her sister. I kind of want to. So this is through Fox News, and that's when I've been through her use. We're showing. Let's show her.
To go from a petroleum refinery to a renewable diesel plant, it really took a massive effort to relook at how we need to operate in the future.
Shush.
The future is going to be powered by multiple types of energy. There is no replacement for crude oil to meet today's
We've got to
fuel
get over
demand.
here.
But I'm confident
Excuse me.
that we have
We
part
have
of the
things to
answer
do.
with
Can I skip your ads, please?
Renewable diesel is part of an energy-diverse future. We are committed.
Under the Fair Use and Copyright Act, I would like to use this footage of Madeline's sister, Megan, speaking. And so this is a article written by Chris Eberhardt from Fox News. And I was looking at the Fox News article before. Not because I'm partial to Fox News. Don't think that at all, please. It's just right now they seem to have more of the information that's up to date. Because, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that just... it's contradictory. Okay, every time I'm trying to do this, let's see here. There we go.
Of Minnesota, down here in Winona.
Okay,
I'm
so
Megan Kingsbury.
Look at her sweatshirt. That's how we're going to find out the statistics. You really just don't see it anywhere else. So we're going to look at the statistics.
Madeline Kingsbury's older sister. I live in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, down here in Winona, looking for Maddi. The last communication that I had with her was the morning of Friday, March 31st. She had sent me a text at about 8:15 in the morning. Regular text for her. We were chuckling about a funny photo exchanged between us. And that was the last communication with me or with any of my family or her other friends.
And it's not like her to go.
For years, since her first child was born, which is 5 years ago now, I talk to her multiple times on a daily basis, FaceTime, phone, text, even the rest of my family. She's just in constant communication with us about every minute detail. So it's very unlike her. There was some concern the evening of Friday, March 31st. My mom actually sent me a message asking if I had heard from my sister that day, because my mom had sent some messages that had no response. And when she said that, I was kind of like, oh, I guess you're right. She was supposed to come visit my house the next morning with her daughter. And typically, we would have discussed those plans since it was coming up. So it was that evening, and we started kind of connecting with her friends and seeing if anyone had heard from her. The focus is on Madeline and finding her. There's a lot of speculation, of course. People are coming up with theories and stuff, and asking us a lot of questions that we can't answer. we want to keep the focus on finding her. People are, keeping their eyes and ears open. And, back to the speculation and theories and stuff. There's just a lot of unknown with all of that. So we just aren't engaging with all of that right now. We just want to keep the focus on the search and covering all the ground and terrain that there is out here.
Okay. Now, that is very, very typical of how this whole thing has been. She spoke up, spoke out. So again, April 13th. That's the first time that I have seen her, and I live here. I'm not huge in the, local news, whatnot, but you would think that the basics would be out there. Let's see. So as we could see on her sweatshirt, we're looking for Maddie Jane, hashtag missing Maddie Jane. She is 5'4", 135 pounds, has hazel eyes, and short, curly brown hair. She is so pretty. She's just a doll. It just sounds like she was just everything to everybody. Now, and then, so this is, really where we're hearing that, this is where this is where we started and this is where we ended up. So, what do you think? Here's that. I'm going to put that on our page here, on my community page, so you guys can see it and see that a little bit better. Please share and forward it. Call Winona PD with any information. And that number is 507-457-6302. Her sister had the Fillmore number on as well. And just because of the way the sweatshirt was, I couldn't catch those last four numbers, but they were 507765. So if somebody else got that too. Oh, there, see the way that it's bent, I can't see that. Okay. Look at this. Look at this. I act like it's a big old thing here. It's not a big old thing, but it says, they're talking about how the dad was not cooperative. But you know what? If somebody's trying to take your kids, you're not going to be cooperative either. But it says he allegedly put the kids in the car, and the social workers tried to help secure the children's seat belts, but he was not willing to accept assistance. And it says that then he was unwilling to gather the belongings for the children. Therefore, the children left home with only the clothes they were wearing. Now, whatever is going on with you, if there's a situation and your children are unfortunately going to have to be taken away from you, wouldn't you want them to have, especially at this age 2 and 5, they must be so scared, their mom is gone, there's all this chaos going on everywhere, tension is high, who knows what they've been hearing in that house. Wouldn't you want them to have like their favorite stuffed animal, their pajamas, their clothes? Why wouldn't he have just ran in and said, hey, just let me get, a few clothes? Because it sounds like they wanted him to. Where it says he was unwilling to gather belongings for the children, it sounds like they gave him the opportunity to, and he refused. There's no room for that, and that speaks to his character, where he may not have had the best interest of his children, and maybe he lets his anger get the best of him at times. I don't like what I'm seeing there. And then this is where it says the thousands of volunteers joined law enforcement and her family and friends over the weekend as they scoured 120,000 acres of land designated by police. So that land has already been covered, and they're doing it in a line search, so everybody, is basically, one arm's length away. And people say things like, oh, well, you don't know what you're doing, you're a civilian, you're volunteers, blah, blah, blah. No, they are told beforehand that, hey, if you see anything, you stop, raise your hand, you, anything. These people are going and they are looking and they've got the person right next to them looking too. They're just having people with their eyes, going and scanning that land. It is greatly appreciated when people do help because these searches can be so expansive I mean, look at, they've already had to go over 120,000 acres and there's been nothing. So these searches become very expansive and very expensive. So then it says here, Megan Kingsbury and her brother sit together after learning about Madeline's suspicious disappearance. So see, this was something very new where I haven't heard much mentioned if she has other siblings. So this is the first I've seen that she has a brother. So they must have had this once the BCA came in. I think that things got real for them, unfortunately. It says police said Wednesday they drafted and served numerous search warrants based on information received via tips or through investigative discovery. Okay. And then this is where it says Kingsbury's van, which she was seen driving the day she went missing, has been impounded and is being processed for evidence, according to the police. The sister confirmed it and had said that, they've had it for quite a while. So, this is what I would like to show, kind of read through with you. I could not gather these on my own. So, I see these are here and I'm hoping I can get from one page to the next, and I'm not sure. So I tried to, oh yes, okay, there we go. Okay, here we go. So, in the state of Minnesota, the county of Winona, the district court, 3rd Judicial District, in the matter of the children of Madeline Jane Kingsbury, the mother, the petition for children in need of protection or services. Petitioner is the Winona County Health and Human Services by and through the undersigned agent, states and alleges the following. The children who are the subject of this petition are Eliana Jane Fravel, and oh gosh, she just had a birthday. Oh no. She was born on 3/26 of 2018, so she is 5. She just turned 5. And then Noah Lewis Fravel, who is, oh, he was a little Christmas Eve baby. He's 2, so he just turned 2 on Christmas Eve. The parents are as follows. The mother, now this is where you see it says the mother is custodial and it says the father is adjudicated. So, well, sounds like there has been court filings to make that official previously. So it's showing that they don't know her whereabouts right now. It's showing that her birthday is 6/1 of 96. She's Caucasian. It says the father is Caucasian as well. And it shows him living in Mabel, Minnesota. That's the first that I've heard of that town. I don't know how far out Mabel is from Winona, or if, because a lot of the cities intersect and they have, you can have like 3 different cities associated with your address on your zip code. It's really confusing. It just goes to the rural nature of our state. So it says Adam Taylor Fravel at 42227. So we've got 3 2s in there. County Road 18. In Mabel, Minnesota, 55954. And what I want to do is I will look at that address in relation to that County Road 43 that they saw in Rushford. And I want to see how far apart that is and see if that's why they're focusing in that area. Now, he's 2 years younger than her, so he is 24. Okay, now it says the parties and their address include the following: the mother, Winona County Health and Human Services, 202 West 3rd Street, Winona, guardian ad litem. Participants and their addresses include the following: the father, address above, and the children. So the parties are CPS, but it's interesting that it says the parties. So they're essentially saying that the mother would move for them to be in protective services, the way that that almost reads. Let's see, where did the next? There's the family all together. Where did that next page go? It says that based upon the information now known, the Indian Child Welfare Act does not apply. The following information constitutes grounds to believe that the children are in need of protection or services. On April 4th, 2023, Winona County Health and Human Services was notified by Winona Police Department that a 72-hour hold was going to be placed on the children due to the mother being an endangered missing person since March 31st. Okay, endangered missing. That's a new term to the story from what I've heard as a local. It was learned that the father does not have custodial rights to the children. Therefore, the children are left without a legal decision maker. There were no known arrangements made for the care of the children. There is an ongoing investigation to locate mother and or determine her whereabouts. Law enforcement stated that mother's disappearance may have been involuntary and suspicious. Mother is currently considered an endangered missing person. The children were located with the father at paternal grandparents' residence. Social workers assisted law enforcement with executing the 72-hour hold. Once at the residence, father and his family became non-cooperative with the officials and would not allow social workers access to the children. At one point, the father took the younger child into the residence and locked the door despite being told that the children were in care and custody of Winona County. While father was in the home with the younger child, social worker could hear father shouting expletives. Social workers attempted to explain to father and his family what the 72-hour hold meant and attempted to encourage the family to be cooperative in order the aid in the transaction. They missed a couple words. Encourage the family to be cooperative in order the aid in the transition for the children. Ugh, I hate that. When I've read the discovery and everything and there's missing words, it's really tough to read it because then it does not flow. Do these people not spell check anymore or like look at their grammar? They don't have grammar check on. Oh. These attempts were unsuccessful. Father and his family made multiple calls to father's attorney and at one point stated that the attorney advised them to take the children in the home so they could not be removed. Okay, I don't think that the attorney said that. If the attorney did say that and they have that on record, the attorney may not be an attorney for much longer. You can't advise somebody to do that. Officials on scene informed the family that they cannot obstruct this process. At one point, father's father mentioned that Winona County should prepare for a big lawsuit regarding this. Okay, prepare for a big lawsuit. I mean, you know what? It sucks, but for the safety of the children, I don't know why they didn't have the grandparents, or there's got to be more they're not telling us. There's something, because generally they're going to make every effort to have the family take the children if there's grandparents willing. And I saw here, I don't know if it's going to show this, but the next hearing for the children's placement is not set until May 15th. So this initial 72-hour hold, where if they're putting a 72-hour hold, and then family that is responsible and shows that they can take care of the children comes forward, and the kids are given back to the grandparents. That case that I was deeply involved with Jessica Alva, that's how it happened for her children. They were taken into custody when she was not expected to live, and Jessica's mother was able to petition the court and get the children out of the CPS hold after that 72 hours. So there's something going on here that's not making sense. That didn't sound good. I don't know what that was. Social workers attempted to explain to father and his family what the 72-hour hold meant, and attempted to encourage the family. Okay, see, this is why I tell you, you guys can tell, I don't ever read ahead, because then, I'd say something and then, oh gosh, here it is. It says right here. It says social workers attempted to explain to father and his family what the 72-hour hold meant, and attempted to encourage the family to be cooperative in order the aid in the transition for the children. Oh, sorry. I was thinking that they were explaining to him that, hey, in 72 hours you can get it back. I'm sorry, I was rereading something. Eventually, the father placed the children in the vehicle. One of the social workers attempted to assist father with securing the children in their car seats, but father was not willing to accept assistance. Father ended up placing the children in the wrong car seats. You don't know which one the 5-year-old goes into and the 2-year-old goes into? This isn't looking good. This is not looking good. Additionally, father was unwilling to gather belongings for the children. Therefore, the children left the home with only the clothes they were wearing. Okay, now let's see here. Relevant criminal, child protection, social services, and or treatment history. There is no known relevant criminal or child protection history. Okay. Now it says, following services and recommendations were made. Given the situation, there were no services offered as the custodial parent is not available for services. There is prima facie evidence to believe that a juvenile protection matter exists, and that said children are subject to the jurisdiction of this court. The above-mentioned children are in need of protection or services pursuant to the following subparagraphs of Minnesota statute. That squiggly thing, 260C.007, subdivision, sub 6. That the children, Eliana Fravel and Noah Fravel, are in need of protection or services within the meaning of Minnesota statute, blah, 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 that they are abandoned or without a parent or guardian. That would be really offensive if you were the father, I mean, obviously as the father, that would be really offensive language to see that, they were abandoned. It says that the children, Eliana Fravel and Noah Fravel, are in need of protection or services within the meaning of Minnesota statute, blah, blah, blah. They are without necessary food, shelter, clothing, education, or other required for the children's physical or mental health or morals because the children's parent, guardian, or custodian is unable or unwilling to provide that care. that the children Aliana Fravel and Noah Fravel are in need of protection or the services within the meaning of Minnesota, blah, 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 in that behavior, condition, or environment is such as to be injurious or dangerous to the children or others. An injurious or dangerous environment may include, but is not limited to, the exposure of the children to criminal activity in the children's home. Based upon the foregoing, petitioner requests the adjudication that these children are in need of protection or services and in a disposition pursuant to Minnesota statute 20 blah, blah. And it says petitioner and through undersigned agent being duly sworn hereby verifies that the contents of this petition are true and the best of petitioner's knowledge, information, and belief. And it is signed by Alyssa Passil, supervisor for the Winona County Health and Human Services. Okay, it is signed and it is through, it is notarized. Oh gosh, it doesn't sound good. I mean, it says here they they understand, the police understand how much the community wants answers, and we're asking everyone to be patient as the investigative process unfolds. We remain confident that we will find Maddi and bring her home to her family. Her family, they're just typical good, salt of the earth people. From everything I can see, everybody says this family is very good, and loving. So it says police said tips from the public have been integral to the investigation. People can call 1-800-222-TIPS or go to crimestoppersminnesota.org. And this is again where it says police have asked everyone in the area to check their security cameras and walk their properties. Police asked residents to preserve all footage from March 31st and April 1st. Okay, so we've got that. Now, here's what's going to complicate. We've got a flood watch for that area. So it says the flood watch is extended for the following rivers in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Mississippi River at Winona, affecting Winona, Buffalo, and I can't even say it, Templeton counties, Mississippi, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it says the flood watch continues for the following rivers, and it says flood watch for snowmelt remains in effect from Monday evening until further notice. Okay, so what it's saying is because of this massive melt we have from the extreme temperature drop, we have snow melting so fast. Within the next 48 hours, here in Minnesota, we go like this. We went from extreme winter to extreme summer. We're going to go back to extreme winter this weekend. So we've got this flooding that's happening on the lands that they want to search to preserve any evidence. Now we're going to have snow again this weekend and freezing temperatures. And then I believe next week is supposed to be kind of mid-spring season. We never know in Minnesota. We just always wear layers. Basically looks like you live out of your vehicle. So, please send prayers to the family. They do have a GoFundMe. You can look that up as well if you feel so inclined to donate to help them with expenses. Pure speculation from my education and research, the fact that they are keeping the children in CPS and not allowing any of these amazing family members that are pictured here and his family, which are not pictured there, they might be amazing people too. There's a huge family that could have taken those children. Our CPS system in general throughout the United States is broken, but it is particularly bad in Minnesota. Some of the stories I could tell you, you wouldn't even believe. So the fact that they actually moved to keep them and are keeping them means that they're being kept in a confidential residence for a reason. I think it's a wise move. I don't think that it's going to be appropriate to allow supervised visitation. I mean, extremely well supervised at this point, I would say, because you have to wonder if the possibility of the children saying that they saw something is a concern. That's completely my 2 cents on the matter. And that's that. So again, call in any information to 1-800-222-TIPS or go to crimestoppersminnesota.org. Or you can call direct to the Winona Police Department at 507-457-6302. And especially think back to that April Fool's Day blizzard that we had that everybody just thought was April Fool's. Like all of us thought, there can't be another blizzard. Ha ha, the weathermen, they really rigged this joke because they were putting up this absolute unbelievable weather forecast. We were like, oh yeah, you guys are so silly. It's going into spring now. Well, it was terrible. So think back, all of you locals like me, think about where you were when that weather was so bad, and if you saw Maddie's van. And if you did, was she driving it or was he? Did you see them go down any roads? Please check your farms. If you have the time, please, take a little hike in the area. Check the area. You may be able to call in. I don't know if you can or not, to say that you have indeed checked your farm or whatnot. I don't know if you can do that as they're asking people to check. I don't know if that is an option or not. I don't know if the police go and say, has your farm been searched or not. But it's urgent before this flood and everything. Just we've got to find Maddie and bring her home to her family. Her children need her. So thank you for listening, and I will put the details on my community page. Please like and share this video along with the information so that we can find Maddie. Thanks for listening as always, and please like and subscribe. I love you all. You know I do. Thank you. Bye-bye.